It is weird sitting down, right?
We usually stand.
We're live. Good morning, professional photographers of Idaho and beyond. I'm Bob Ryder.
And I'm Larry Fry. Good morning.
We are your entertainment for the morning.
And it's been an entertaining show.
And so Larry Fry, tell us where we're at today.
We are in Shelley, Idaho at Sherry Barron's Photography Studio.
Yeah.
And this place is awesome. So if you're in southeastern Idaho, you need to be here.
The banner on the screen says we're in Idaho Falls.
I know, but Shelley and Idaho Falls are kind of, they're not the same, but they're close. So
okay.
Yeah.
It
took us maybe 10 minutes to get here this morning. So
great.
No big
so this is actually our first time streaming on YouTube.
Yes.
All right. This is wow, the whole building's shaking. There's a train going by. There's a train going by. You don't know that, but we do. All right. And we have something really unique going on today. We have a live studio audience. Say good morning, live studio audience. Good morning, live studio audience. You can always count on Gordon to have a little fun with that. We are with the High Desert Photographers Camera Club. Is that right? Yeah? Did we get that right? How many here today? 15-ish?
Yeah.
This is our largest studio audience to date.
Ever.
It beats the 2 that we had at the last one we did with a studio audience.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good. I would love to know.
Did you count the dog last time? That's 3.
Well, and there was a cat too.
Yeah. Okay. So 4.
I got to pet the cat anyway. We're also using a whole fleet of new streaming equipment. So bear with us a little bit as we work through this. We've got an interesting topic today. Let's get that back on here. All right, our topic today, do we have first, let's go back. We're back to Larry. You know what else is different?
We're sitting down.
We're sitting down, and it's totally weird.
It's weird.
I don't like this.
I don't need I'm going to stand up next time.
Yeah, all right, we'll stand up next time. What do you think, standing or sitting? Talking to you. Yes. This is your opportunity. This is like your 10 seconds of fame right here. Standing or sitting?
Listen, so far, only the people that are watching you are the 15 people in this room, so we can see
okay.
that.
You know what we're getting off of your camera back up there is it's saying no card in camera on our production screen. So
well, there's
I'm
no
blast
card.
away from there.
There's no card in my camera.
That's the deal.
Yeah.
That's the real deal.
Okay.
Announcements today?
So next Friday on the 21st, there is no live.
Yeah, not doing a live. You know, there's a couple of interesting tidbits about next Friday, the 21st.
Yes.
It's my birthday.
Yeah.
And I'll be in
BFE someplace.
I'll be in the desert of Nevada.
Yeah.
For a wedding. Anyway.
And then on the 28th we have another interesting, not a dilemma, but an interesting go.
Yes.
We will be having our PPI board retreat
up in Sun Valley.
Up in Sun Valley, and we are thinking about doing a live. Well, I'm not thinking about it. We're going to do a live from there with the entire PPI board. So, so if you want to ask
they
questions,
don't know this. They're learning this as you are.
Yeah. So if you want to ask the board some questions next Friday would be a really good time to tune in.
Not next Friday. The 28th.
I'm sorry, 28th.
Yeah. Don't tune in.
Yeah.
Next Friday.
Be a really good time to tune in. I mean, because they don't actually know that we're doing this either. So yeah, it's going to be a surprise.
I'm going to come to another announcement here. I just have to get that screen up for us. There it goes. Let's bring that on for a minute. Our Members Connects, our Tuesday members only, members benefit connect time.
First and third Tuesdays at 10 a.m.
This is probably our last week announcing this.
Yes.
At least for a while.
We've hit it for a month.
We have. Yeah. So our next one is the 18th, this coming Tuesday.
Right.
And Members Connect, if you're a member of PP of Idaho, make sure you're looking for your emails for the link to get in on that.
And so what's a Members Connect? I know there's probably some not members of PPI here. So what's a Members Connect is when the members of PPI get together on a Zoom call, basically is what it is. And there's various topics, and or there could be just various discussions, and or anybody can throw out anything at any time they either like or don't like or want an answer to or whatever. So it's a good deal. It's headed by Jen Alvey, and we if you get up in time and take a shower, you can put a camera on yourself. If you don't, just wear a ball cap and shut your camera off. You're fine. So
to really kind of talk about this for a minute, it's private time for our members to talk amongst each other, and sometimes it's I have a conundrum, I have a problem, and you can lean on your other members to help solve that problem.
Yeah, and sometimes that could be work related.
I'm going to do a job.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of you do photography for money, but most of us in PP of Idaho do, and part of that is, have you ever taken a job that you didn't know how to do, but you took the job anyway?
Well, sure.
Yeah, right? That's what this Members
Yeah.
Connect is really good for.
We had a member just the other day ask about basically dragging the shutter using Flash, and he didn't know how to do that.
Yep.
I'm happy to provide an answer. So it's just that kind of stuff. And and it doesn't matter what it is. It could be taking a job like I'm doing, I don't know, a track venue. What do I do? I mean, and there's somebody there that has shot track before.
Yeah.
And they'll say, you know what, don't do this. And pretty much. So it's a great way for PPI members just to connect, like we said, just exactly what it is. And then also, if you have not an issue, well, you could have an issue with PPI. We'd be glad to hear it. Seriously,
Yeah.
because
Yep.
I mean, man.
Well, that's also a great time for our members to give feedback to the
Right.
the leadership, right?
Right.
All right. So then the next thing I want to hit is that obviously we're on YouTube now.
Yeah.
Our YouTube channel a week ago didn't really exist. It had no public-facing material.
Right.
This week it's got almost 20 videos. We've got some member profiles in there. We've got, let's come back over here. We've got some clips from some of our educational opportunities that we've done. A whole bunch of the lives that we've been doing for the last 2 years. We're starting to push those into that platform as well. And of course, we've moved our Friday lives from Facebook over here to YouTube.
And why is that?
Because YouTube is a video platform.
Right.
And they're just not crushing our signal quite as bad.
Yeah, the compression on Facebook was just incredibly bad, and
It was a real challenge.
Yeah,
right?
it was a challenge.
So this is less compressed, and actually, the unique situation that we've got today is that
we have so much
streaming.
new stuff here that it's incredible.
Yeah, if they could look down, let me
Yeah.
take the lower thirds off. look at the ATEM
Yeah.
going on there. You can't see it, but the ATEM is like streaming like, anyway, very pretty. They can see it, you can't see it. Never mind, I shouldn't have gone there. Lower thirds are back, no more problem. Pretty much everything is new.
Yeah.
Where they're set up today. And so what I was gonna say, look at this.
Yeah, nice.
Okay.
And in typical fashion, we did it on a live, like 300 miles from where we live. So that's kind of how we roll.
Let's jump into it.
Let's pile the truck full of stuff.
We are
and see if we
streaming
can
on
make it.
4G.
Yeah, it's awesome.
With your hotspot.
Yeah.
And it's killing it.
Killing it.
It's about twice, a little more than twice of what
I
we were
might
seeing on the
I
local
might actually have
Wi-Fi.
to pay that bill now.
Well, if it spontaneously shuts off,
Yeah, we'll
Larry
know
didn't
why,
pay the
yeah,
bill, right? All right, so that's it for announcements. Are we ready for our topic today?
Just a little bit more on the YouTube thing.
Yeah, go for it.
Just one more thing is that please go out there, like and subscribe. The more subscribers we get, the better off we can promote this channel. And who knows, if we ever get enough, we might even make a couple of dimes off of it to.
It's Professional Photographers of Idaho. That's a great question.
So the question was, what's the name of the channel?
Yeah.
So.
And you don't have to whisper if you have questions.
Yeah.
Please just shout them out. Actually, Gordon's got a microphone. We can plug you right into the feed if you've got something that you want to contribute. But good question. It's Professional Photographers of Idaho. And I've keyworded that with a lot of different phrases like Idaho photographer, just about everything I could think of that was related to photography in Idaho. PP of Idaho.
Photographers
PPI,
of Idaho.
yeah, so just
Idaho
look for that.
photography, yeah.
We have groups on Facebook too. We've got a public group. Actually, it's a private group. You have to ask to join. It's
Right.
Photographers of Idaho by PPI.
Yeah, if you guys are not a member of that and you want to kind of get in on it's a little bit of the flavor. We kind of it's kind of wide open. We don't suppress many members that come in there. There are some because they come in there and basically they want to advertise,
Yeah.
and we discourage that. It's a fairly large group. There's about 650, 700 in there, and the questions are simple. All you have to do to get a review is just to answer all of the questions. Please answer all of them.
Are you a photographer? Do you like cameras? Are you a nerd?
Yeah.
Basic stuff like that.
And I think the last one is, did you answer all these questions or something? It's just to make sure people can actually read and go through the stuff, because we get a lot of bots in there. So that's all it's for, is to keep those guys out. Yeah, exactly.
Are you
Okay,
done?
I'm done. Yeah.
He's done.
I'm done.
I want to shout out to LaQuita. She's our first commenter on our
Hey, LaQuita, how you doing?
here on live on YouTube. That means we have an audience.
Hey, Michael Collins is on.
That's awesome.
Can you make
That's
that
very
bigger?
cool.
Can I see it
No,
over
I
there?
can't. No.
Oh, come
No.
on. Jeez.
Can you make yourself younger?
Yes.
No.
A little hair dye. I'm good. Yeah.
All right, so we're here with a photography club today. So I'm going to ask a couple of quick questions of our audience on camera here. And Gordon, can you just run the mic around for me? I'm going to turn that on. So mind your manners. And so Gordon has the microphone. He's going to move it through the room. I just want to hear a little bit about you guys. Tell me what you like to photograph. Anybody? Come on. Don't be shy with me here. We're live. Don't worry.
Wildlife, landscapes,
Excellent.
mostly.
Excellent.
Behind it there.
You ever ridden an elephant?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Singapore. You can do that in Singapore.
I'm getting into more of the miniatures.
Really?
Oh, sweet.
Detail and that stuff, learning the lighting. So
Like force perspective or macro or?
macro.
Macro.
mostly.
Neat.
So
Anybody else? Right there.
I was walking by on the sidewalk, and
That's Debbie Tate.
I love the creativity of photography. It's an outlet for stress relief and doing compositions or composites, I guess.
Yep.
And you guys should all see Sherry's studio here. It's awesome. So excited to have Larry and Bob here.
Well, we were excited to be here too, Debbie. Thanks for inviting us. We appreciate it.
And we got turned on to that breakfast joint.
Yeah.
What's
and now
the name of that? O'Malley's?
O'Ba-
O'Brady's?
O'Brady's. And now we can't walk.
The amount of
Yeah.
food they served free men was absolutely obscene this morning.
It was incredibly bad. It was good.
The food was
but
great.
it was like a pile of food left over when we got done. Gordon, you
was-
should have been there.
It was not sane. It was
I
not
was
sane.
sleeping in.
We're eating at your place tonight. Gordon's serving. What are you serving us tonight?
Those are ribeyes.
Get the microphone.
Oh, those are
I want that-
ribeyes.
I want that FOMA going on there. I want that fear of missing out, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
We're having some smoked ribeyes from Doug's Meats.
Good grief. That's what's going down.
It's tomorrow night.
So you know what I'd like to do, Larry, is just take a moment and talk about what we do, so they know who we are.
Yeah. So I actually
I
am.
wasn't thinking I wanted to hear about what you did. I wanted to talk.
You always want to talk. That's why I hogged the microphone.
No, go
first.
ahead.
Yeah. So I'm one of those rare guys that has a day job, but I'm also a professional photographer. And by what professional to me means is I do accept money for jobs. And I'm a wedding, well, I was a wedding photographer, and then 2020 hit, so that may go away. But I've been doing that for about 15 years. I think it was actually 16, but who's counting? And I think at my peak, one year I shot 25 weddings. Just about killed me. But I did it. And I had, I don't know, 4 or 5 booked for last year, and those all went away. So I'm probably going to change. So, but I'm a...
So I want you to tell them what you really love to do.
What do I really love to do? I love to eat.
You
but
love
I
to
can-
shoot models and
Oh yeah,
create.
yeah. Oh yeah,
love
yeah.
to craft
So
rely-
I was talking to Bob the other day. Thanks for that.
You're welcome, Larry.
I know. I was talking to Bob the other day, and I'm really looking forward to this, and especially coming to your club because first of all, Debbie and I met about, what was it, Debbie, 4 years ago, and that's Club 79, and we were sitting up there, and nobody else was there.
At an image competition,
Right.
Club 79 is the room where all of the people kind of gather to
And
watch the thing go.
She started chatting about the shoot that you have. It's an old western town, and anyway, I was like, "Oh, that's what I do. I'd love to do that." So she says, "Well, come on over," and you guys are sending me emails and stuff, and I love it. And so I was talking to Bob. It just dawned on me. I was getting ready to come over here. I had all this. I have a table in my garage that's about this size, and it was piled like this, full of stuff that we're going to bring today. And I got to thinking about what Deb said about your club is that they're mainly landscape photographers and wildlife photographers, etc., that don't really shoot portraits. And I thought, that was me when I started out at 14, 15 years old with a camera. That's what I did. I hiked the state. I had a camera. I shot rivers and streams and lakes, and they were crappy shots, by the way. Don't get me wrong.
This is your testimony, man.
Exactly. But you guys are my people because I was scared to death to take a picture of a human and to try and make them look good or whatever. And you know what? It's still a little intimidating today, but not. I'm there. I'm there with you. I've been there. You guys are exactly like I was a long time ago. I'm not going to say how many years.
Anybody in the room afraid to photograph people? Like, come on, bring it.
Yeah. So we're going to try and take that. We're not going to try and take the fear away because there's always a little hesitation. Even today, when I meet a bride for the first time, sometimes it's
That's
like,
frightening.
how am I going to do this?
When I meet the mother of the bride, that's terrifying.
I don't do that. Yeah.
We call her the mob, right?
Yeah.
Mother of bride?
Yeah.
The mob.
Call her the Bridezilla. So anyway, I'm with you guys 100%, and I am so looking forward to this because anybody can do this, probably with gear that you have right now.
Yeah.
And both of us are gonna show you how to do it. So yeah, thanks. I forgot all about that I told you that.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Preach it.
So I'm there. You guys, we're connected somehow. I don't know how yet, but we're figured it out.
That remains to be seen, I suppose. My name's Bob Ryder. I'm a commercial photographer. I do headshots.
He only shoots from here on.
I do, right?
Whatever. It's like a.
And I photograph big things. So we do commercial and industrial imaging as well.
With no people in it.
With no people.
Yeah,
It's like
figure that out.
landscapes in giant buildings.
He
We
shoots
just-
heads and no people.
Right. Thanks. I love the harassment. My business is business to business facing only. I have no client facing, no consumer facing marketing whatsoever. And there's a little bit of trickle down from the business side that brings in the occasional family or the occasional high school senior for like formal work. But by and large, we just work business to business. Some large corporations, some small, rarely mom and pops, but mostly like mid-sized to large businesses are my main clients.
You want to learn about marketing in even an urban atmosphere like Idaho Falls? This is the guy. He's the guy that works. He works the Better Business Bureau. He works the Chamber of Commerce. He works Kiwanis. He works Rotary. He works just about any group out there, and it pays off. I'm completely the opposite. My marketing is completely focused online. It's completely focused. Well, some of it was on the knot, wedding wire, all that stuff. But mine now is all word of mouth. So once you get that clientele built up, you can, I never want to say you can let go of marketing. You never can let go of meeting people, but you have kind of a safety net there because you have some contacts that you already have. So he's the guy though to like cold calls.
So
Yeah.
I make my living in person. I basically make my marketing through a handshake.
Yeah.
Meeting business owners, meeting business leaders. How many of you have heard the phrase gatekeeper as it relates to business?
Yep.
Yeah. The gatekeeper is the person in the company that filters everybody from getting to the bosses. Okay. The gatekeeper is the one person that I need to court.
And it's
Because
usually
if the gatekeeper hands me to the boss, I've been pre-approved.
the executive assistant.
It is usually somebody with a title, something like that.
Yep.
Sometimes my gatekeeper is in HR. If the company's big enough to have an HR department, sometimes it's a leader in the marketing department, and
Or
sometimes it's, no, it's never accounting. It's HR, it's marketing, and it's the executive assistant. Those are my three main places that I find my gatekeeper. So when I'm looking to meet people, I'm not looking to meet, I should not say that. I don't need to meet a lot of independent representatives for, say, financial firms and things like that. They need a headshot, and they're going to use that same headshot for years because, well, that's their marketplace. But my main client is meeting that person who helps me get to the boss who makes the decision. And sometimes we'll shoot 30, 40, 50, 60 people in a day. We did 5 people on Wednesday morning, 15-minute session. And it's pretty dialed in. But anyway, that's it. That's enough about me. I am not from here.
I'm an Idaho
How many
native.
Idaho natives do we have in the room? Okay.
There you go.
Well, I'm here to tell you that I am not a Californian. Okay? I came from California, but I owned a gun shop out there for a long time, so I'm okay. Right? To be here in Idaho, right?
Well, tell them where you're from.
I'm from Boston.
Boston.
Yeah, from Boston.
Yeah.
I grew
You
up.
know your cousin from Boston that the beer ads on TV?
You are on it today.
I am
How
on
much coffee did you drink?
A lot.
A lot. All right. So listen, I think that I'd like to move on. Look
Yeah.
at our time.
Yeah.
We're good. We're actually well beyond our normal.
Well, we had a lot to cover today.
We do.
So
It's
yeah,
good.
Yeah.
We seldom introduce ourselves anymore.
No.
That's okay. Any new comments? Michael says, morning.
Hey, Michael.
So Michael is a very well accomplished photographer, master, a photographer.
And he's a Photoshop guy that knows a lot of stuff.
He's
so,
a PPI member. He
Yep.
is from California.
And as a matter of fact, I think in our PPI group, several times he's posted mini workshops, and all you have to do is sign up, totally free.
Yeah.
And he goes to go. He'll go over a single function or I didn't go. I haven't gone to. Sorry, Michael, I haven't gone to any yet.
I have.
Have you?
Yep.
So is it just like a single function of Photoshop?
Yeah, he's going to show you how to do a thing. in
A thing,
Photoshop.
yeah. So, Michael Collins.
Michael Collins.
Yep. And
So if you jump on our PP, if you jump on our Photographers of Idaho group page, he's on there. He advertises his Photoshop classes on there, and he teaches them free.
Yep.
And he does about one a week. Mike, do you do about one a week? Did I get that right? Mike and I have in common that we're both retired law enforcement, which is kind of neat. To both wind up in the same community here and have some conversation and have some real roots together. It's kind of neat. All right, so with that, do we want to take a minute and get into our topic today?
Let's do that.
And, and you can't see this, but the slide, I should have figured
yeah,
that
we
out.
should add a thing.
I need another thing to add to my
Yeah,
setup.
we need another TV. Yeah.
So
exactly.
our slide right now, look at that. It is what is enough anyway. And this is a conversation today about lighting. And I want to not be that talking head on YouTube that tells you that you need to buy the biggest, latest, greatest light setup to get started, that an umbrella is insufficient, the speed lights are, none of that's
Garbage, yeah.
yeah, so
let's tell them what precipitated this whole thing.
let's do that.
So we were talking about, we're both lighting nerds.
Totally.
And we're both Godox guys, and we're not here necessarily to push that system, but you better buy it.
Can I
I'm
ask
just
you a
kidding.
question?
Yeah.
I want to ask a question. How many of you have a speed light?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Look at almost all of them.
How
Okay.
many experience with studio strobes? A couple.
Okay, couple.
Okay. So out of the room, that's probably like
How many of
10%.
you? How many of you with speed lights use your speed light outdoors?
a couple.
Yeah.
Good. So
Okay.
what we want to do actually this weekend
Yeah.
is help you. Like, show me again how many with speed lights?
Almost everybody.
Almost everybody.
Yeah.
So I guess if I have a goal personally this weekend, and I'll let you get back to your story here, Larry, is that you walk away this weekend going, I can use this thing,
Yeah.
right? Because I would guess that it sits in your bag a lot.
So
Yeah?
we were talking about our Godox systems, and of course Godox has put out everything from a speed light. What are they up to? V85 now? What's the new one? What is it?
My V1?
No, yeah, V1. That's
Yeah,
it.
the V1.
And then they started in with their strobes at it, and that's what, 85 watt seconds, 75, 79,
Get after it.
something like that. And we were talking about the 100, 200, and 300 watt second lights that they have out, and how much power it would take to go out in the full sun and shoot stuff. And we were kind of bantering back and
Can I
forth.
back that up for a minute?
Sure.
I really want to let you tell your story. I really do.
I wish you would.
Watt seconds, is that a term that people are familiar with in the
No,
room?
no. But we're going to go over that.
Watt seconds
Hang
is
on.
like your power level.
So you guys are all familiar with guide numbers, right?
No.
No. Okay. Perfect.
No, they have a speed light in their camera bag that
Okay.
they don't even know if it has batteries.
So let's.
And when they open it, the batteries are probably corroded.
We're gonna.
I'm right.
Yeah. See, it takes batteries. So we're gonna.
Plug it into your
we're gonna
cigarette
go.
lighter.
We're gonna go over all the guide numbers of watt seconds in a second, but trust me when I say the 100, 200, 300, they progress in power as they go up. And Bob just looked at me. He says, I ran a studio for many years on Alien B, the
400s.
400s, which is actually a, what is it, 250?
It's a 160 watt second light.
100
But I want to build this into perspective, okay?
Yeah.
They've got 2400 watt second lights. So from 100 to 2400 watt seconds, all right? This is like from tiny to very large. And
It's like a Volkswagen Beetle to an 18-wheeler.
it is.
Yeah, it's huge.
And I ran a studio for years without really even thinking about it on very small strobes.
So we started talking about how much is too much, because there's so much information out on the interwebs about, oh, you need 600 watt seconds to do this, or you need 1200 watt seconds to do this, or those 100 watt second lights are worthless. You might as well not even buy them. I have 2 of those worthless 100 watt second lights, and combined with, I could either take my 200 or 300 watt second, I could have a 3-light setup outdoors and do just fine on one person. And there's no reason why, even on a 1-light setup, you couldn't take the 100 watt second light, which I proved. We don't have those slides, do we? The freak show?
No, I did, no. No.
So I have a mannequin that I call the freak show because she's really ugly. And when you stick her head on a light stand and that wig, it's like, eesh. And several times I've left it in my garage. My wife's come out and she about peed her pants and then ran back inside. So you don't want to do that either. So that's why I call her the freak show. So
She's really ugly.
she is bad. And I set her up
And you
out.
stick her on top of a light stand.
Yeah, well,
It's just wrong.
She's really skinny though. So I put her outside in the full sun, and the sun's in her, on her wig, and I took my process was going to be, I was going to take the 100 and shoot, and I was going to take the 200 and shoot, all from 6 feet away, take the 300 and shoot, and show you the difference, right? And my point would be that it don't need the 300 to make this happen. So I lined up the 100, and I metered, did all the stuff I needed to do, poof, hit the shot, and it lit it. And then I'm like, well, if I can light it with 100, obviously I could light it with a 200 and 300. So I never even took the other shots. I just put it all away because it just proved to me that you can do it. We're here to show you that that speed light that you have can do exactly the same thing without fail, kind of, every time. There's always elements in here. We're talking batteries, we're talking transmitters, receivers. It's
every component of it.
It's just like a car, right? You don't buy a car and it never lasts forever, right? Well, there's going to be something.
And some cars are fast, and some cars are slow, and some
Right.
cars are big, and some cars are not.
So this is the same way. Your speed light is a tool, and it's a mechanical thing.
Yep.
And if it doesn't have juice, not going to fire. If the transmitter doesn't have juice or the receiver doesn't have juice, it's not going to work. So there are problems along the way, but it works, I would say, for me now, 99.9% of the time. And you also will get to 99.9. You just have to
Use it.
use it. Yeah, exactly.
So you know, years ago, I attended any PPA members in the audience? You remember Professional Photographers of America?
See one over there. Two.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
There's a few of us anyway that are.
Our camera 2 died.
Your camera 2 died.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway.
It is what it is, right?
Yep.
So then I'll bring that back over there. I went to a workshop that was sponsored by PPA probably 8 years ago in Sacramento, and we took speedlights outside next to the railroad tracks, and the instructor showed how they didn't work. And I'm like, yep, had that experience. And then he's like, but if you do this, hit the zoom, didn't change the power, didn't move the thing, pop the flash, worked just fine. I was like, ah! Right? It was just one of those moments, like, huh?
Do you also have the trouble board questions?
No.
Okay. So we're on our.
What? Whip it up, dude.
Okay.
So we're going to try and work into our topic for our live viewers too. But Mike Collins replied back. He says next week he's going to be talking about clipping masks. So how many Photoshop users? Okay. If you're going to do, I'm going to say this, but understand this is just my perspective. If you're doing serious work, you're probably going to land in Photoshop at some point. Okay. And you need to understand some real basic functionality of Photoshop, like layers and clipping masks, because they can help you, especially with landscapes. In fact, I am decidedly not an astrophotographer. Okay, I shoot commercial work, daylight, inside a building, that kind of stuff. 2 years ago, I took from Jonathan Mills. I took his workshop.
Oh, that's awesome.
On astrophotography, and then sat through his Photoshop class afterwards, and I was just stunned at how simple what he does to his pictures of his stars and mountains is done in Photoshop, and it's done with layers and clipping masks and then some adjustments. But anyway, so Michael's going to be talking about clipping masks next week, and it's every Tuesday at 2 o'clock. So if you jump on the Photographers of Idaho group page on Facebook, how many are on Facebook? A bunch of you. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So
So you got your questions up. That's
Yep,
great.
yep.
We're going to work into the what is enough anyway, and I put the slide up several times, but now they're seeing it again. What is enough anyway? And this is just literally a conversation. Part of it is rebuttal, right?
Most of it's rebuttal.
Most of it's rebuttal. And what I mean by that is the YouTube talking heads tell you you have to have this or have to have that for any given situation. And the reality is there's a lot of things that you can do that are very simple, like moving your light closer.
So
Makes it more powerful.
there's a lot of. So let's talk about speedlights, because all you guys pretty much have a speedlight.
Yep.
And we already established that the guide number is a foreign number to you guys, which is all right because it's a foreign number to a lot of people. So don't worry about that. But when you buy a Speedlight, there will be a guide number on it. Let's just say it's 86. I'm picking a number out of the air. 86.
I like 97 better.
Okay, let's do 97.
Okay.
Your guide number is 97. Let's do 92 because that's the example I got.
Okay, you should do that.
So,
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 I'm just going to say this guide number is referenced in feet at,
Yep.
at a specific given power level at a specific given ISO.
and a guide number is exactly that. It's a guide. It has nothing to do with the power output of your light other than the fact if the guide number is higher, realistically, it probably puts out more power, but not necessarily depending on the inside infrastructure of your Fresnel lens and stuff. So that's just all it is a guide. You can't really go out and say, I've got a guide number 384 Speedlight and it's going to kick butt. You can't say that. You can't even say that about strobes because of all the stuff that's happening, and we'll talk about that in a second. So it's a guide number is a required distance for any given f-stop, and that's it. So there's more to it. I'm not going to go into specifics about the calculation because there's a big one, but it doesn't really matter. So a guide number of 92 divided by f2.8 equals 33 feet. So your flash zoomed all the way out at f2.8, if you or walk 33 feet away from your subject and point it back at f2.8.
I just did something really bad.
What'd you do? Did you kill us?
I just did something really bad. Let's see if I can shut that off.
Are we done?
No, we're not done. No,
Oh.
we're okay.
All right.
I just,
He's over here. He's over here punching buttons, and I'm tackling.
well, I've got a really cool ticker thing that I was trying to put over there, but
Yeah,
I won't
geez.
do that.
Okay.
I mentioned this is all brand new like this week.
So,
Sorry.
that's okay. So your guide number is just a guide number. That's all it is, just a guide number. You can't like go and say, well, I have.
It's representative of your power output.
Yeah, it's representative, but it doesn't. Don't let that deter you. Somebody says, well, my guide number is only 62, and some other person says, well, my guide number is 92. All right, that means a 62 person maybe has to step forward about 6 inches. That's it. Okay, so don't worry about that.
That's what
part.
it means.
And then now let's talk. I talked about the 100, 200, 300 watt seconds. So if you think about that term, watt second, that's exactly what it is. It's a unit of power. It's watts/second, watts per second. And what is that? Well, that's the discharge of the capacitor in energy, watts, for a second of time. That's it. The efficiency of the flash really factors into that. So if you have a 100 watt second flash, is that less powerful than a 300? Inherently, yes. Does it mean you can't do the same job with a 100 than a 300? No. And here's the reason why. The 100 I have, has a Fresnel lens on it, which means it collects light and shoots it forward.
Concentrates it.
It doesn't do like that is shooting it all over the room. It right to your face.
Concentrates it.
Right. The 300 does not. And what about the tubes that actually flash, the thing that actually makes it go poof, right? That tube, how efficient is that tube? If you have a 300 watt second light with a crappy inefficient tube, it's going to probably equal the 100 watt second light with a very efficient tube. Again, these are just numbers and they're guides. That's all they are. Now, as a general rule, if you have a 1200 watt second flash versus a 100 watt second flash, guess who's going to win, okay? I'm not trying to be unrealistic. What I'm trying to say is the people that have Speedlights or 100 watt second flashes can do this stuff without going to buy a 600 watt second flash.
Yeah, I think if I were to sum that up, like moral of the story is don't get wrapped up in the power that you've got.
Right.
Learn to use what you've got.
Right.
I think that's what he's trying to say in a lot of technical words.
And any modifier you stick in front of that tube, any modifier, chunk of plastic,
Yeah.
one of these, if
I've
you
got
double,
another question from my audience. I wish my camera was working.
just a second, let me finish this thought real fast.
Yeah, finish it.
Any modifier that you stick in front of it will affect the power greatly. So it doesn't matter what it is. You could have, it just doesn't matter. It's physics. It's the inverse square law, which we will not get into here, but we'll probably hit a little bit on the workshop, but we won't get into it here. But that inverse square law is huge, and the actual tube itself, the way it reacts to that watt second of power. By the way, a watt second is the amount, so for example, 100 watt seconds will be 100 watts of power continuous for 1 full second to that tube. That's what 100 watt seconds is. 200 watt seconds of power, like joules, I'm talking. And also, by the way, if you hear the word joules, that's the same as a watt. So don't let that fool you. So I'm through geeking out on that.
That was nerdy.
It was, but
Yeah.
it had to be said because you guys, I know
So, I
you guys
think-
your eyes are going to roll back in your head, go, oh, I don't even know what the 100 watt second thing is. So
So I think it's really important to kind of illustrate that these are all terms that if you get into lights, these are all terms you're going to see, like thrown around, kicked around, tossed around.
and there'll be some guy out there saying, buy my XYZ 300
Yeah.
super de-duper
Or
flash.
there's going to be a couple of guys talking in a room that says, well, you can't over the power of the sun unless you have 1200 watt seconds.
Exactly.
And tomorrow we're going to
Now,
overpower the sun. Right?
kind of.
Like, does that make any sense, that phrase, overpower the sun? It really doesn't.
No.
Okay, because you're not going to. It's a big fiery mass in the sky, right?
Yeah. And you're trying to do that with 2 AA's.
You know what I'm really hoping?
Seriously. You got a nuclear fission device out there, and you got 2 AA batteries. That's not going to work.
I'm hoping that tomorrow can just get really hands-on practical. How many of you coming tomorrow for the shoot day?
Oh, good.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Bunch of models coming. Our plan is to set up a variety of workstations with models and just kind of divide people out and let people work through different workstations throughout the morning. Does that sound good? And part of that is I want you to make art with what you've got. Make art with that thing in your bag that you haven't used in a while.
And just think, I mean, you guys can, this is not any type of, now, so PPA has some rules about workshops and using, but you can use these images anywhere you want to. So it's all
Yeah.
good. So
Yeah.
this is not a PPA sanctioned event or a PPI sanctioned event. So
All right, so I want to answer this question.
okay, fire
What
away.
is enough anyway?
I look like Iron Man with this thing on. It's flashing.
It's really not flashing, but it is. I know.
like-
You know what? You could like put it inside, or what? You worried about it?
Well, just
Look, we could take a break here for a minute. I could like put color bars up or something. You can like fix your shirt. You worried about it?
No, I just looked at my thing over there. It's like,
It,
wow.
it is
that's
what it
weird.
is, and so that's why I was.
This
putting
is
the lower
not a
thirds up,
heart
right?
monitor. I am fine. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I figured out what I did earlier.
I'm surprised there's
Oh,
not
look
the
at that!
little-
Boom! Lower thirds are back.
Surprised
Lots
it-
of buttons. Can you see
Yeah.
this? This is like I'm not gonna move it.
Don't move it.
700 buttons, like literally.
Yeah.
700. Anyway, what is enough anyway? So the whole point of the title of this workshop is to understand that what you have is enough if you're willing to work with it. Okay? Because a tool is a tool is a tool. Light is a light is a light. Some guys will say, oh, you can't use a speed light because speed lights aren't good light. That's not accurate. Okay, speed light's not any different light than my strobe. I might have a variety of strobes, so I'm nerdy with light like Larry is. We both have a fleet of strobes. I run a studio. Got plenty of stuff going on with that. What are you doing?
This is lit with 100 watt second.
That's
full
very
sunshine.
distracting.
I know. You've distracted me enough.
I know. That's just the way it is. So the whole point, getting back to this, what is enough anyway? It literally is what you have. And you're just going to figure out what it takes to make that work. And we're going to do a lot of that, figuring it out tomorrow. But some of the key things. So you touched on this topic of diffusing light reduces power. So it's safe to say that anything that you put in front of your lens, so anybody here running fast long lenses like a 200, 2.8 or anything like that? Anybody using fast glass? Yeah?
3 or 4, yeah.
Do you put a UV filter on the front of that? No. Why? Because you've got fast glass. And if you put something in front of it, it's not as fast because it's going to eat your light, right? So anything that you put between your lens and your subject is going to eat light. It's going to consume some of that light and not reach your sensor. And the same thing is coming out of a light. This big guy here is double diffused, okay? There's an inner panel and there's an outer panel, and both of those reduce the effective power of my light. So if I were to take this sucker outside with my video light, it's just not going to be effective. Does that mean it's not working? No, it's working fine. It's just not effective. But if I stripped the diffusion off of that, I'd probably bring my effective output of my light up into a more manageable range. And realistically, what are you doing? That's the freak show, man. Nobody wants to see that. You're like a little child today. Dang. There's a song in that. There's a country song in that.
Yes.
I do have a question.
I would love, Gordon, can you take him the mic?
You bet.
All right.
You mentioned the filters. I have on my camera lens, or on my lens, I have a clear filter in front of the lens to protect it.
Okay.
Does that affect the light?
It
Yes.
does. Anything that you put between that
Should
front
I
lens
take it
element-
off?
Okay, so I'm gonna answer that.
Okay.
It's up to you. Okay, so but there's factors that I would consider in making that decision. Are you easy or hard on your equipment? I know guys, I went to that workshop in Sacramento, the guy had his camera bag laying on a counter and it was a mound of expensive camera equipment, and he would walk by and throw a lens in, and he'd walk by and pluck something else out and would collapse on itself. That guy needs clear filters on his lenses because he's just hard on his stuff. Me? Okay, so maybe your answer is, if you've ever scratched your front lens element, then maybe your answer is, yeah, I'm going to keep that on there. Just know that anything that you put between the light source, which if you're pointing your camera at a subject, they become your light source. They're reflecting the light that your camera reads. Anything you put between your lens and that subject that you're photographing is going to consume some of the light in. So maybe an answer for you might be, in low light situation where you're struggling to get enough out of your camera to make the picture, take that front lens element off. It might give you a third of a stop or a half of a stop difference in just giving you a little bit more light into your sensor. And that's just reality. So the UV filter is a holdover from our camera days. Film was sensitive to UV rays, so we used to filter that out. How many film shooters?
Oh,
How many of us old people started with film?
Oh,
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You're
everybody.
seriously old.
yeah. Hey,
Hey,
wait a second.
hey. So that holdover, it's an easy upsell for the clerk at the camera store also, right? Hey, you want to put something on there, you got to protect that investment, right? And they pick up that $12 filter, they're going to sell it to you for $48. You screw that on top of your $1,000 lens. Canon didn't design that. So the answer is simple. I carry a 77 millimeter because most of my lenses are fast glass and have that 77 millimeter diameter. I carry a UV filter in there for when I'm shooting in wet or sandy environments. So I was photographing, this was a few years ago, it was in the midst of a wildfire. They turned our local glider port ranch place into a helicopter port for firefighting helicopters. I was shooting that for a newspaper, and it was just horrible, like the rotor wash, flying crazy stuff. I screwed that on, okay, because I'm protecting the lens element. I'll tell you what I do every other moment of the day for my camera equipment is I use a lens hood. Okay, if you look at the camera that's shooting right now, the lens hood protects from stray light coming in at odd angles, giving you odd things in your picture. For me, I use it for bump protection.
Yep.
Plain and simple.
And they give you those for free. There's no reason to have them turned around and pointed, backwards and screwed on, because that doesn't do you any good.
When I work events, a lot of times light is an issue. You're in that event, you walk in, you're like, this is going to work, and then when the event starts, they turn the lights way down. You're like, oh, mood lighting, that sucks, right? It does. So at that point, I'm concerned. I'm not going to have a front element, a protective deal on the front of my lens because it's going to eat my light, and light's an issue right now. I'm going to use my lens hood, and if I'm walking through a crowd, if anybody has ever worked an event or you've attended an event, and you're kind of slimming through those chairs and there's jackets and purses and people, that lens hood keeps my lens well protected.
Quick story.
Yeah, get the mic, dude. Get the mic from Gordon. It's on.
Day after I bought it was a 10 to 24 Tamron. The day after I bought it, I was getting my camera out to put it on my tripod, and my hand just stopped working, and it fell right on the camera lens, brand new, but it only hit the lens head, so it didn't damage the lens at all. Scuffed the camera up a bit, but the lens was fine.
Word.
Yep.
So that's my answer, and that's a solid question. And I think that I think it's in the moment. If you're clumsy with your equipment, if you've ever damaged a lens in the past, screw that sucker on it. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Like, you have permission to do that, right? But also know that it's okay to take that off and run a lens hood as bump protection. And I'm pretty careful with my equipment. I'm fastidious about my equipment. That's my word for the day.
That's good.
Fastidious. I'm really cautious with my equipment, and I'm a studio shooter most of the time. Okay?
So, and the other obvious, if you're in sand around here, like if you go to the dunes or whatever and shoot in sand,
That's a good idea.
for sure keep it on.
Yeah, man.
And I actually have screwed a plastic bag through that clear filter, cut a circle in it with my knife so that the lens doesn't get obstructed, and put the bag over the camera so that it keeps the sand out of everything. If you shoot down in Arizona and those slot canyons down in there, that you almost have to do that. Stuff is so fine.
So
it's just
we are way off topic, but I'm going to comment on that. Okay?
Well-
This is how our lives go, by the way.
yeah.
There are many a rabbit hole. We often talk about things that aren't necessarily what we intended to.
We're
Nobody's
good
texting me and telling me that we're unruly. So, and actually, we're almost out of time, so that's okay. What I do want to say, though, is that in those sandy environments, everybody's on digital, because I asked who shoots film, and most of you didn't raise your hand, so everybody's on digital. In those sandy environments, don't change your lens.
Yeah.
Like, drop into your car.
Go outside a ways away on a tarp or something, or a bag or something.
Change your lens when it's not blowing dust, sand
Yeah,
all around you, because that sand will get into everything that it can get into. My cameras are weather sealed. I don't worry about that. The only time my camera's not weather sealed is when I'm changing the lens. So in that scenario, I'm going to run 2 or 3 camera bodies so that I don't have to change lenses.
We could have a whole nother show on this.
That's a great. Put it in your Trello there.
I'll do that.
Okay.
I'll do it later because I get in trouble playing with my phone.
Okay, you did.
Yeah.
Good. Maybe you got bullied for playing with your phone.
I think so.
Look, I'm not sure we answered the question on the live today, but I think the gist is there.
Yeah,
right?
the gist of this live is you guys that have Speedlights and you're basically nature photographers. I get that. Don't be afraid of that Speedlight is what we're saying. And you can. How many of you have seen an environmental portrait where you got this beautiful scene, and all of a sudden,
point last night.
yeah, there's a dude or a gal out somewhere, and just that little kiss of lights on that dude or the gal, and you look at that and go, wow, I was there, I took all that shot, and I had the thought process of getting my Speedlight out with my stand and putting that person over in the right-hand corner, the rule of thirds, all that stuff. And just that
Fibonacci deal.
The golden rule.
Yeah.
And just that little kiss of light, and all of a sudden now you have an environmental portrait where you have a stellar, whatever it is, sunrise, sunset, cloud situation, whatever it is, but you have that person in there, which gives you a sense of space. Look, I'm in the wide open. Now that person could be in the picture, it could be this high, doesn't matter. You have that person in there, and it's got that little kiss of light on it.
Speaks to scale.
Yeah, it speaks to scale, big. We'll show you how to do that, and it's not hard. And all it entails, believe it or not, is taking
A couple
2
extra
images.
pictures.
That's it,
Yep.
and you're done. So we'll show you how to do that, and it's not hard at all. That's the point of this whole thing. What's too much?
So tomorrow, no math.
Yeah, no math.
Okay.
We're not going to do guide numbers or math formulas, but we are going to create some killer images. And this afternoon we'll be talking about this a little bit more.
Yeah. So we're going to get into the structured time and put some lights in front of you and show you some things.
So what is enough anyway? You guys probably already have it in your bag. You just don't know it. And that's what I want to say. What is enough? You guys probably already have it. I didn't know it a long time ago. I mean, seriously, I'm just like you guys, scared to death to shoot a human. Well, not like shoot, but like with a flash. I'd be scared to do the other thing too.
So I'll tell you something slightly humorous. I owned a gun shop and a portrait studio in the same community. And my friends would say, flash with no bang. It's okay to stand in front of Bob. Flash with a bang. You should probably stand behind. Okay? Because, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Wait for the flash.
All right.
So, what is enough anyway? You probably already have it.
Yep.
And just remember that when you go out to look on the YouTubes or the Googles, and you choose the Google and go out there, how much flash do I need to shoot in full sun? There's going to be like 75,000 different answers. None of them are probably incorrect. They're probably all correct. But you just need to start with what you have, and then the other thing I'm going to say is rent, baby, rent. So if you're unsure about a light, go out to Borrow Lenses or Lens Rentals or maybe your local camera
Just
shop.
come over here to Sherry's studio and see what she's
just
using.
grab some stuff. She's fine with that. And
You know what? Hold off for a minute.
What?
I need to hit this point.
Okay, go ahead.
We are in Sherry Barron's studio here in Shirley.
Yep,
Right?
Shelley.
Shelley.
Yeah.
Shirley.
Shirley's
Julie.
down the
Jane.
road. Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah.
We're in Shelley, and I mean no disrespect by that.
No.
It's a lot of names, right? So, but we're in Barron Photography Studio. The studio is amazing. She had it ready with chairs and tables for us this morning. She had extra power strips ready for us, and was very accommodating for us today. So just kudos.
And look, if you and go to camera 2 here for a second.
Camera
So
two. Look, everybody sit up and look like you're having a lot of
Yeah,
fun for
yeah,
just a minute. I'm
yeah.
going to put you back on air.
So look at those chairs. Can you guys see those out there on TV on the
She's
chairs?
got a really cool collection of chairs.
Look at that. Yeah, look at that back there. Isn't that cool?
Thanks, Vanna. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Sherry Barron. Woo!
Do you have something to say? Okay. Come
Go.
on, step into the camera so they can see you there. Just step in.
Hey, just a quick plug for Sherry. She rents her studio out by the hour to local photographers that may need a studio space.
Terrific. That's really good.
Well, how come it's not over next to us? I'd rent this place.
Right? Seriously. All right. So I'm going to shut that mic back off.
All right.
We're going to say sayonara to our folks on the interwebs here. And just let you know, no show next Friday, the 21st, and we'll be back with your board. Maybe we could call that an Ask Anything.
We'll see.
We'll see what kind of answers we get anyway. And that's going to do it. So we'll see you. Thanks for your time online, and we'll be back with you in 2 weeks.
Thanks
Take
for
care.
joining. Bye-bye.